Hello everyone. So this is going to be the little guide and commentary for Mythic Krosus. In this fight I've elected to go for the normal Ascendance single target spec, as you would expect from me. You can go Ice Fury for this fight. It is a very solid spec and it will help with the extra movement required for Mythic. However, the top parses are actually still Ascendants, despite you only being able to get 2 during the duration of the fight, seeing as it ends 6 minutes in. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm positioned close to the boss and giving water walking, so when the bridge breaks that we won't die. That's a joke. So I'm doing a slightly different opener here, in preps that if I needed to move for that Fell Beam, that I would be able to reapply Flame Shock with Elemental Focus. So I'm now in a position where I've popped Ascendance after the first beam and I've moved to where the next beam will not hit me. So you're popping Ascendance maybe 5 seconds later than you normally would. And again, I'm standing very close to the boss to minimize damage from the Orb of Destruction. So right before the soak, I go ahead and get a nice refresh on the Flame Shock, and I go back and soak near the back of the room here. Now I go ahead and cast a Stormkeeper. Go ahead and dot up an ad, and then I start Stormkeepering, Chain Lightning the ads up in the front. I do always save Stormkeeper for the ad sets, which means you will lose 1 total usage in the fight. However, this is what we were doing to progress, so that we could kill the front ads very easily. That's our strategy. Not every guild uses that, but we choose to make sure that the ads are mostly spawned in the very front of the room for easy cleave off of the boss. So now the bridge is collapsing right here after that beam, so I move back. And we're just going to be stacking here for the next few mechanics. Get a nice Whispers proc right here, which is very great because pretty much just get to sit here and cast for like 10 seconds. I'd already pre-moved left to make sure that that Fell Beam will not hit me. I try to always position myself naturally when I would normally use a GCD, so that I won't need to move instantly and react to the mechanic when it comes out. It is better to prepare for it in advance. It is a lot extra to keep track of, but that's just what you gotta do. So now we have the next Burning Pitch, and I cheated a little bit and soaked in the front, but we had a nice ad spawn that I could Chain Lightning down. There were a few ads that spawned in the back, and I go to Chain Lightning them, but we had a nice full moon drop on them and kill them from pretty much 40% health. So I did waste a little damage there. And unfortunately, I did get the Orb of Destruction here. And being the selfless player that I am, I use the Warlock Gate, and then I still Gust of Wind to make sure I was as far away as possible from everyone, to save healer mana, since this fight is only 3 healed. Now the bridge is about to collapse right now. The only reason I was far enough on that bridge to need to run back for the collapse was that I took less damage from the Orb of Destruction. If you really want to milk the extra DPS you can purposefully stay back and take extra damage from the orb, although this is not recommended, especially for progression, because healer mana is crucial here. So now we're stacked for more orbs, and I go ahead and prepare for Ascendance. I've elected to use Ascendance here because there's a lot more movement on the last phase later on with the double Fell Beam, because they always go right, left, or left, right. So now we're getting ready to go soak in the back. I had to refresh my Flame Shock there. So I prepare my Stormkeeper and start Chain Lightning the ads. Pop my Earth Shock on the high health ad in the back because melee and everything aren't able to cleave it down. Now here I'm going to Gust of Wind in, I believe, for the orb, to minimize damage taken. So he gets orb, and I go ahead and go in like that so I don't take pretty much double the damage that I would have, which almost would have one-shot me at this point. It's very important later in the fight on these last two bridge sections that you minimize as much damage as possible, because there's going to be situations where you're going to have an orb, a slam, and then burning pitch within 10 seconds of each other. This makes it very difficult for healers, so it's very important that you do as much as you can to mitigate the damage that you are taking. So we have the orb, and I move in the corner to prevent as much damage as possible. Fortunately, still took a lot, and I healing surge myself a few times to make sure I didn't die to that slam. Now that we have the pitches incoming, I pre-drop earthquakes that I had saved up, and I Stormkeeper and make sure that all these adds die as quick as possible, except for that one that I ignored on the right because I'm a piece of shit. No Kappa. So now all we need to do is just not die to the next coming mechanics, such as the orb and this slam, which I was barely able to get my astral shift off in time. And now there's another orb. This is one of the worst combos in the fight, so make sure you live. So now this boss is pretty much going to die. So as you can see, with the exception of when I had orb and having to soak the burning pitches, that I was able to pretty much avoid all movement necessary, with the exception of moving while I'm normally using my main rotation, such as refreshing Flame Shock, reacting to a Lava Surge proc, or casting Earth Shock naturally. So that is the video right here, and the next one will take a little while because my guild is only 4 of 10. However, it's important to note that that will probably be coming up this week, a Spellblade video. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.